I assess the power of a will by how much resistance, pain, torture it endures and knows how to turn to its advantage. You say you love her, but you cannot endure yourself. You confuse softness with salvation, comfort with character, affection with ascension. You crave to be seen, touched, kissed not to be known. You wrap yourself in her praise like bandages over a soul that never learned to bleed. But listen now, before the rot sets in too deep. There is a kind of love that doesn't elevate, only enervates. There is a tenderness that sedates the will, weakens the limbs, and buries the fire of your becoming under the sweet poison of her approval. You think affection is always a blessing. Schopenhauer laughed. He knew better. And deep down, so do you. Because you felt it, haven't you? That slow death beneath warm hands. That decay of drive, ambition, clarity, crushed under the weight of her need to be needed. She clings to your potential and feeds on your stillness. You call it peace, but it is sedation. You call it love, but it is leash. You dreamt of becoming a titan, but now you're just a tame echo. A man who asks permission to speak, to move, to dream. You once feared failure. Now you fear her frown. That is not love. That is imprisonment dressed in perfume and pretty lies. Where is your sword, man? Where is your mourning ritual that slices the throat of sloth? Where is your silence, your solitude, your sacred rage that shapes you into something dangerous and divine? You buried it, traded it for cuddles, caresses, and codependency. You became a puppy when you were called to be a prophet. You wag your tail when she calls you sweet. You flinch when she's silent. You measure your worth in how many kisses you receive. You sold your sovereignty for soft eyes and softer nights. But what has it made you? Stronger, sharper, wiser? No, it has made you slower, duller, hungrier. Every time you collapse into her arms without discipline, you rob yourself of the very hunger that forges gods from men. She doesn't want you to ascend, not really. Because every rung of your ascent pulls you further from her gravity. And she wants to be your gravity. She wants to be your sun. But a real man bows to no orbit but his own. So I ask you, how much of your current life is built on fear disguised as affection? How many times have you stayed in bed a little longer, skipped your practice, abandoned your code, just to keep her mood balanced? How many times have you silenced your roar just to keep the peace? And what has that peace cost you? Your edge, your spine, your voice. You are not at peace, you are paused, trapped in a holding pattern of gentle annihilation. There's no hatred here, only truth. And truth cuts deeper than bitterness ever could. Because the truth is this: she cannot make you whole. Her love cannot build your temple. Her arms cannot carry your burden. That is your labor, your sacred obligation. You must be the one to wake before dawn and wrestle your demons. You must be the one who chooses pain over comfort, clarity over emotion, purpose over praise. That is the will to power. That is the call of the Übermensch, not to dominate her, but to rise so far above dependency that even love becomes something you give freely, not something you beg to receive. And yet here you are praying at her altar, not to God, not to truth, but to the fleeting drug of her affection. You were not born to be a beggar. You were not carved from flesh to be cradled forever. You were made for fire, for silence, for self-rule. If she leaves, you must not crumble. If she stays, you must not melt. If she tests you, you must not perform. You must stand, with or without applause, forged in solitude, focused like a blade. Because she will test you, she must. Not out of cruelty, but design. She must push to see if you collapse or rise. And every collapse teaches her she cannot trust your spine. Every rise teaches her she is safe in your strength. Do not seek to be loved, seek to be unbreakable. Let her love you for the man who bows to nothing, not even her affection. Now pause, look around your life. The quiet addictions, the forgotten dreams, the dulled ambition, the scattered notebooks, the dusty dumbbells, the half-finished plans, the unspoken prayers. Is this what you were meant for? Is this the man you came to become? Or did you lose him in the softness of her sighs? You wear her approval like a crown, but it rusts your soul. You carry her needs like a cross, but it's not yours to bear. You are not a savior. You are not a sponge. You are a flame, and you must burn or die. Burn with direction. Burn with discipline. Burn with refusal to waste another breath, chasing smiles instead of purpose. She may weep. She may leave. She may scream that you've changed. Let her. If you are becoming who you were meant to be, then change is sacred. Pain is sacred. Solitude is sacred. Let them all fall away if it means you can finally rise. Do you understand now why love the kind sold by songs, shows, and soft-voiced therapists is often a trap? Because it demands nothing but your presence. But destiny demands blood. Affection is passive. Becoming is war. And you were made for war. You were made for the sound of your own breath in a quiet morning before the rest of the world awakens. You were made for the grind of your bones against the resistance of your former self. You were made for confrontation with your addictions, your softness, your longing to be liked. Do not be liked. Be true. Do not be held. Be owned. You keep waiting for someone to come and pull you from this pit, but you dug it. With your own hands, every compromise. Every night, you chose her arms over your mission. Every day you let your body decay for the sake of her comfort. Every lie you told yourself to feel okay in your smallness. That was your shovel. And now it's time to climb. Climb with hunger, with silence, with rejection, with loneliness. Climb through the cold wind of doubt and the fire of self-denial. Climb past the grave of who you used to be, and do not stop until your soul no longer needs applause. Only then will you begin to know what love really is. Love that flows from power, not need. Love that cannot be weaponized or withheld. Love that bows to no one. Are you ready to let go of the lies of the softness, of the secret hope that one day she'll love you enough to fix what you refuse to face? Because she won't. She can't. And it's not her job. It is yours. You are the forge. You are the flame. You are the blacksmith and the blade. And every moment you delay, the rust spreads further, until you are no longer man, but memory. Until you are no longer flame, but smoke. Until you are no longer potential, but regret. The mirror is here now. Look into it. See the soft eyes, the weakened jaw, the unsure stance, the hollow chest, the apologetic tone. Is that what a king looks like? Is that what a warrior speaks like? Is that the man you prayed you'd become when you were still a boy, dreaming of greatness? No, that is the man who gave up. That is the man who sought affection over truth. That is the man who bowed before her smile and lost his spine in the transaction. So let this be the last day you live like that. Let this be the funeral of your excuses. Let this be the graveyard of your fears. Let this be the birth of your dominion. Now rise. The fire is yours. Stand barefoot on the floor of your own weakness and declare war. Not on her, not on love, but on every impulse in you that seeks to be cradled instead of crowned. Declare war on the coward in your bones that whispers. Just one more day like this. Just a little more comfort. Just a little more of her approval. That voice is death. It is the soft assassin that comes not with a blade, but with a lullaby. And you've listened too long. You've laid in her arms too long. You've mistaken the warmth of her presence for the fire of your purpose. But you were not born to be kept warm. You were born to burn. So wake up. Wake up from the dream of mutual completion. Wake up from the lie that someone else can carry your becoming. You are not half of a soul looking for another. You are a whole force, a cosmic spear thrown into this life to pierce through mediocrity and forge meaning in the abyss. She cannot walk that path for you. No one can. The moment you look to her to validate your rise, you fall. The moment you tether your fire to her affection, you extinguish your potential. What is the will to power, if not this, to rise despite the ache, to choose truth over tenderness, to endure solitude rather than sell your throne for a kiss? What is the eternal return, if not this, to face the horrifying question, would you do this again? This life, this woman, this decay? Would you relive the same comfort, the same soft death, the same spiritual cowardice? And if the answer is no, then you know what must be done. Because the only man worthy of life is the one who would choose it again and again, not for its pleasures, but for his own transformation through fire. You must become worthy of the return. You must become so dangerous to your own mediocrity that fate itself begins to tremble. And love, if it exists, must find you in your full blaze, not in your whimper. Can she love a man she cannot control? That is the test. Can she stand beside you while you stare into the sun of your own ambition, unblinking? Can she hold your hand without pulling you from the altar where you crucify your comfort? If not, let her go. Do not bend. Do not bow. Do not barter with your soul to buy back her affection. Do you think Socrates begged? Do you think Marcus Aurelius asked for morning caudles before writing the meditations that outlived empires? Do you think Nietzsche paused his hammer blows of truth to make sure a woman didn't feel abandoned? No. They were men possessed not by affection, but by mission. And that's what you must reclaim now, your mission. The sharp edge of your daily defiance. The ritual that nobody sees but everyone feels. The silence that echoes louder than her sweet nothings. The solitude that doesn't isolate you but sanctifies you. Can you sit in a room alone and not tremble? Can you rise before the sun and smile in the cold? Can you go to bed knowing you did not betray your higher self, even if no one applauded? That is love. That is self-respect. That is masculine fire untouched by modern softness. You think you're lonely, but you're not. You're just untrained in solitude. You think you're unloved, but it's your mission that has gone ignored, not your heart. You think you need more affection, but what you really need is to feel your own weight again, to become so grounded, so carved by will, that the world bends to accommodate your presence, not the other way around. So what now? You go back to the beginning. You strip your soul naked. You stop lying to yourself. You stop blaming her. You stop waiting for motivation. You begin again, not from hope, but from will, cold, clean, clear, like steel forged under pressure. You choose the path of discomfort, of sacred routines, of words unsaid, of discipline over dopamine. You say no to the cuddle when the page is still blank. You say no to the date night when your body cries out for movement. You say no to her softness when your soul is begging to be sharpened. And what will that make you? Strange, alone, misunderstood, unloved for a while, but eventually it will make you unmistakable, untouchable, unshakable. You will walk into rooms and silence the air, not with charm, but with conviction. You will meet eyes and they will flinch, not because of aggression, but because of the unbearable truth you carry. You will become the man you once feared. The one who doesn't need love to feel alive, who doesn't need affection to sleep at night. The man whose peace is purchased by effort, not emotion. The man who no longer bends to make her stay. And then, if love comes, let it find you standing. Let it find you built. Let it find you unyielding. Your temple already raised. Your sword already bloodied. Your rituals already sacred. If she comes, then good. If she lives, better. Because nothing in you will break. You have already become. You have already burned. And no smile, no silence, no softness can ever steal from you what you forged alone in the furnace. So walk now, past the temptation, past the nostalgia, past the illusions of the good times. You were half asleep in them anyway. Walk with your fists closed, your jaw tight, your eyes on the sun. You are not looking for love anymore. You are becoming something it cannot corrupt. And when the mirror comes again, as it always does, look deep. See the man who never apologized for his power, who never diluted his truth to be liked, who never kissed his fire goodbye. Let that be the man you die as. Let that be the man you live as, again and again, in the eternal return. You are not hers. You are not anyone's. You are yours. And you are not done.